The room is quiet. A fragile peace settles like dust in the fading light. You share a small victory, a piece of good news, a moment of pride. You watch her face, hoping to see your joy reflected there. Instead, a shadow passes over her features. A subtle shift, a change in the air, and then she says it. "That's wonderful, but do you remember when you—" The words hang in the air, cold and sharp. A key turning in a lock. The past is summoned. Not as a memory, but as a ghost. A phantom brought forth to stand judgment over your present happiness. Your victory dissolves. The warmth in the room vanishes, stolen by a single, carefully chosen sentence. You are no longer in your home. You are in a courtroom, and she is the judge, the prosecutor, and the silent, unforgiving jury. Your mistake, long buried, has been exhumed for the trial. This feeling is not an accident. It is a design, a carefully constructed architecture of control built on the foundation of your guilt. Welcome to the psychology of perpetual guilt, the art of weaponizing yesterday to dominate today. Why does she do this? The answer is not in the past, it's in the present. It's about power. Every time she resurrects your mistake, she reinforces a narrative. You are flawed, you are indebted, you are lucky she stays. This creates an imbalance. You become the perpetual defendant, and she, the benevolent forgiver. A role she never lets you forget. The weaponized past is a leash. It keeps you from straying too far, from growing too confident, from ever feeling truly equal. Your joy becomes a threat to her control. Your success, a challenge to the established order. So, it must be neutralized. She isn't afraid of who you were. She is afraid of who you might become if you ever escaped the weight of your history. This is a form of emotional blackmail. The unspoken threat is always there. Behave, or I will remind you of why you don't deserve to be happy. It's also a powerful tool of projection. Often, the manipulator harbors deep-seated insecurities or their own unaddressed guilt. By making you the broken one, she deflects from her own fractured self. Your guilt becomes a shield for her shame. Let's call him Julian. He was an artist, his hands capable of creating beauty from clay. He had made a mistake once, a financial error, years ago. He had worked tirelessly to fix it. The debt was paid, the lesson learned. But for Alara, his partner, the ledger was never balanced. One evening, Julian came home, his face alight with a rare, pure joy. A prestigious gallery wanted to feature his work. It was the break he'd dreamed of, he told Alara, his voice trembling with excitement. She listened, her face a blank canvas. Then she looked at the new kiln he'd bought. "A whole gallery," she said, her voice soft as silk. "That's a lot of pressure. Are you sure we can afford the materials after, you know?" And there it was, the ghost at the feast. The financial mistake from 5 years ago, summoned to poison this perfect moment. Julian's smile faltered. The light in his eyes dimmed. The gallery, the dream, it all felt foolish now, irresponsible. He saw himself not as a rising artist, but as the reckless man from years ago. A man who couldn't be trusted. A man who needed her careful oversight. This happened again and again. When friends invited them out, she would whisper, "Remember how you got too loud that one time when he wanted to try a new hobby? Are you sure you'll stick with it? Like that guitar you bought?" The ghosts were an army, and she was their commander. The house became a museum of his failures. Every object held a story, a potential accusation. He walked on eggshells, terrified of waking the dead. This is the endgame of perpetual guilt, self-censorship. You begin to police your own joy. You dim your own light to keep the peace. You stop sharing good news. You stop dreaming big. The prison is no longer external. You have internalized the warden. But then something can happen. A crack in the facade. A moment of impossible clarity. For Julian, it was a simple conversation. A friend asked about the gallery show. Julian mumbled something about it being too risky. His friend, who knew of his past mistake, just frowned. The one from 5 years ago. "Julian, you built an entire studio since then. That mistake is the reason you're so careful now. It's not a weakness. It's your foundation. Here is the cold, hard truth. Your past mistakes do not define you. Your recovery from them does. Your growth, your scars. The weapon isn't the mistake. The weapon is your shame about the mistake. And she has been pulling that trigger again and again. Julian walked home that night, the friend's words echoing. For the first time, he didn't feel the dread creeping in as he approached his own door. He entered. Ilara was there, polishing a silver frame, a picture of them from happier times. Another potential weapon. I called the gallery, he said, his voice level. I'm taking the show. Her hand stopped. She looked up, her eyes narrowing. After our conversation? After I reminded you of how reckless you can be? The old words, the familiar script. But this time, the spell was broken. My past mistake is not on trial tonight, Ilara, Julian said, his voice calm. It taught me what I needed to know. It's over. We are not discussing it again. He did not raise his voice. He did not argue. He simply drew a line. He revoked her access to his shame. Breaking free from this cycle isn't about winning an argument. It's about ending the debate. It's a quiet refusal to play the game. You are not the sum of your worst moments. You are the proof that we can survive them, that we can build on the rubble of our failures. The ghost of your past only has the power you give it, and the people who love you will not ask you to be haunted.